of the champions, the Zinger 100.9 and AM 1400.
Go Champs! Go Champions!
Go Champs!
Coming to you live from WZNG Studio-B, it's the Cascade Coaches Show on the Zinger 100.9. Get ready for inside analysis and recap on all things Cascade High School basketball with the Lady Champions head coach, Janie DeMumbrium, and Champions head coach, Doug Worsley. Hosted by Voice of the Champions, Noah Maddox. Now let's send it live to Studio B for another edition of the Cascade Coaches Show.
Welcome, everybody, to the Cascade Coaches Show. I'm Noah Maddox, joined by Coach Janie DeMumbrium in Studio B right here on the Zinger 100.9 Cascade Coaches Show, brought to you by Five Oaks Farm of Tennessee, Clinton Private Supply, First Community Bank, and Cascade Service Company. We are also live on YouTube and Facebook, and we will be joined by Coach Doug Worsley over the phone at the bottom of the hour. But first up, thank you, Coach. Welcome into the studio.
Thanks for having me.
Always. So you guys went 1-1 last week, and then with one game to go in the district regular season. Despite that fact, you guys were able to wrap up the 1 seed thanks to some help on the next day on Saturday from Community. They're in the giving mood, I guess, on Saturday to help you guys. But you, despite 1-1, now 6-1 in the district, 19-6 overall, coming in, dropped 2 spots, ranked 9th for what it's worth in this week's poll. You guys have the 1 seed wrapped up, so now it'll come down to Tuesday and Friday, but really Tuesday, to figure out who you guys will play next week in about 10 days, 8 days, 9 days, something like that, days time. First up, the game against Community, you guys fell by 10. They jumped out to the early lead, and you guys never led in that game. That was a lot of firsts in that one for this year. What was the takeaway from that game? And then you guys had to go to Chapel Hill. What was those couple of days like in between getting ready for the trip to Chapel Hill?
We just talk about the physicality of that game, and we've played very physical games all season long, especially when we went to Gatlinburg and played Johnson Central. They definitely were way more physical than we faced this year, and so we just talked to the girls about expecting that. You are the number 1 seed, you were the people that were unbeaten in the district, and who else is going to want to beat us besides our in-county rival? And they just came out and played hard. But, we just had a real heart-to-heart on, continuing to do the little things and then making sure that, hey, we're all locked in these next 3 to 4 weeks of our season. Hopefully we can continue to be successful to give us a few more games at the end of all of it. So
yeah, you guys were taking on a team that had not played in about 2 weeks, or in exactly 2 weeks. That was the 14 days since they had played a real game due to the storms that came through a few weeks ago. Were you expecting what were you expecting from them going into that game, from Community, that is, going into that game with that fact in mind?
Well, I've really thought 2 ways. It could go really great for us, or could have gone really bad. You can utilize those 2 weeks that they had off. We had a few days off, and we thought, that's great for us. It would give us good legs, and that gave them good legs, especially shooting legs to make. I thought that their shots looked really well conditioned, and so on the other side, it could have hurt them, as in the conditioning of not being able to play. But obviously, they came out, they must have honed in on some things on their practice days and just said, hey, we're going to go out and we're going to be physical. And that's been successful for them over these last few games, is their physicality. So, it's a rivalry game. It was our senior night. Those are things that mean a lot to a lot of people. in the situations that we've been in and throughout this season. I mean, you want to come out when you're the opposing team and it's their senior night. You want to come out and you want to ruin their season, or especially their senior night for those girls. And they just came out and they did that. And that's exactly what we talked to our girls about. Like, that's what they did to you on your senior night. Now we've got to flip the script. So
Yeah. And you guys did flip that script on Friday.
Barely.
Did the same thing. One ended up winning by 14, which in the game on Friday felt like 24, with how that game plodded along for 3 quarters or so until you guys went on that. It was an 11-0 run in the third that extended into a 17-2 to close out the third. And you guys ended up winning 43-29. At the start of that game, obviously the tensions were high from all sorts of directions. Scored 3 points, a lot of contact and physicality to start. But you guys eventually were able to settle things down. You went to halftime tied. What was the message at halftime once you had a moment for everybody kind of take a breath?
Everybody.
Hey, we got 16 minutes. It's a brand new ball game. We can forget what happened in the first 16 in terms of how we felt one way or the other.
Yeah.
And what was the message going into in the locker room at halftime? And then you guys obviously made something work in that third quarter.
Yeah, we Coach Woodson, Coach Kaylee, and I, we sat out of the locker room for a little bit and talked about how the girls had to keep their composure on situations, especially when things got tight like that. But then, the girls weren't understanding where we wanted them to be on the offensive end, and so we had to draw it up and specifically talk about, this is where you need to go. This is what you need to do. So it was just, hey, we've got 10 minutes here, 15 minutes, whatever halftime is now. Let's take a breather. Let's hit the reset. And then we go back out there, and it's basically a 0-0 game. And so we started from the beginning, and we thought our girls executed. We were able to get the ball into the middle, which I know I heard that several times on I went back on the radio and listened to it, and then on our film I heard everybody yelling, get the ball in the middle. And we were also yelling it. And so in the second half, we were able to get some flashes into the middle and then to make that skip pass read. But kudos to them for being physical, especially Pope. She guarded Kagan all night long. And when you're able to hold Kagan to 12 points, you're doing a pretty good job on her.
Yeah.
But at the same time, kudos to my girls, especially Joe and Caroline, for stepping up and hitting big shots, and especially stepping up to the free throw line and hitting big shots.
Yeah, you guys at the free throw line, Caroline went 7 of 10 from the free throw line, 4 of 6 in the first half. You guys 13 of 18 from the line. That's 72% for those who don't do quick math. That one, it was difficult, I will admit. Caroline had 15, led you on scoring with also 7 rebounds. Kagan, as you said, had 12. Jocelyn had 12, hit 2 big timely threes in that one. And really, Caroline and Jocelyn offensively were important pieces as to why you guys were even tied going into the half. And on top of that, Jocelyn had 2 fouls 2 minutes into the game.
I think her, and I don't want to think Lizzie had.
She did too.
Some quick fouls that we had to get her out. And, she didn't even score. I think she was like 0 for 7 maybe. And when we're able to win, and I've got low scoring with Kagan, and then I have no scoring with Lizzie, it's a pretty good team win overall.
Yeah, for sure. You guys held Stallnecker to 10 points total. Josie Brown, 2 of 10 from outside for Chapel Hill. The one thing that we did hate to see, from just a competitor standpoint is Cam Warner, who had to sit in the second half. She apparently picked up an injury at the end of the first half, halftime, something where we got word of that. And, you just hate it for a senior on senior night to have that sort of thing happen. But it did, looking at it, the way the game played out, it did help you guys defensively. Were able to get up and kind of disrupt more of what they were doing from the point of attack.
Yeah, I thought L.L.C did a great job with their guard, whether it was Warner or the Dillon girl. She was able to put some pressure on them, and good clean pressure too. She anytime that there would be a change of the direction, again, Lexi's using her soccer skills and jumping in front of that. So that's just a weapon for us. And she's no secret. We're going to use her to the best of our ability, and hopefully we can get her in there on that offensive side too.
For sure. She did have a banked in three, but unfortunately it was called.
I was like,
called a foul on.
I was like, of course. I mean, I get my girl to shoot, and then you call a foul. But, we'll take them when we can get them.
Exactly. Well, we'll be back in 2 minutes. Continue talking to Coach JD right here on the Cascade Coaches Show.
Looking for farm fresh beef with real Tennessee flavor? At Five Oaks Farm in Shelbyville, their cattle are pasture raised and grain finished for rich, tender taste every time. From their popular burger box to the fully stocked family box, Five Oaks Farm is here to serve you with high-quality, locally raised beef. Order your box today at fiveoaksfarmtn.com. Five Oaks Farm, a brand you can trust.
Friends don't let friends miss out on savings. They share tips, tools, and smart choices that help your money go further. At First Community Bank, our savings accounts make it easy to work toward your goals with flexible options, competitive interest, and the friendly guidance you deserve. Because saving more isn't something a good friend lets you miss out on. Open an account today and put your money to work. First Community Bank. Friends and neighbors first. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Kincaid's is proud to offer Beauty Rest Black to our customers. Beauty Rest Black represents a leap forward in bedding with sleep climate technology keeping you cool and triple-stranded pocketed coils to give you luxurious support all night long. Wake up refreshed and ready to take on the day with a new Beauty Rest Black mattress from Kincaid Service Company. 400 Madison Street, Shelbyville, across from the Speedway gas station. 931-684-5662. If you're in the market for heavy equipment, Clanton Pipe and Supply has you covered. With everything from skid steers, backhoes, and even mini excavators, you never know what Clanton will have on the lot. For all your pipe and used equipment needs, call 931-684-4847. For heavy equipment, financing is available with approved credit. And of course, you know Clanton for their corrugated metal and plastic culvert pipe. They carry all types and sizes, not to mention that delivery is also available. 931-684-4847, ClantonPipeandSupply.com.
It's the Cascade Coaches Show on the Zinger 100.9.
Welcome back to the Cascade Coaches Show right here on the Zinger 100.9. Noah Maddox joined by Coach Janie DeMumbrium in Studio-B. Cascade Coaches Show brought to you by Five Oaks Farm of Tennessee, Clanton Pipe and Supply, First Community Bank, and Kincaid Service Company. We were just talking about last week's district slate where you guys split the Community and Chapel Hill matchups 1-1 last week, 6-1 in the district, 19-6 overall. Have secured the number one seed in next week's district tournament with a game to go. You guys hitting the road to Summertown this week after a non-district trip to Eagleville on Tuesday. Just curious the mindset going into Tuesday. Obviously, you just try to win every game, play your best, focus on, especially in non-district. I would assume, hey, let's focus more on
ourselves.
us.
Yeah.
Is there any specific, objectives for a game like this? You guys have whittled the rotation down to primarily 6 people, 7 sometimes if there's foul trouble. But what are the kind of things that you guys as a coaching staff are looking, and you as the head coach obviously looking for going into this kind of game tomorrow night?
Well, today, we worked on a little bit offensively of what to do against a box and one. So maybe I'm hoping that maybe he'll throw some box and one out there on us. I don't know if he will do that, but you never know. But we've talked about changing up our defense a little bit, and I'm going to try to let go of our man-to-man, and let's try and see if we can get some type of rotation in on defense as far as go between man and zone. and I'm definitely going to use tomorrow night as that guinea pig to see how we look. Are we able to do this? Does it make us not as aggressive? Just see how the girls take with it. And we haven't really gotten up and pressed a lot these last few weeks, and so maybe look at a little bit of that too, just to see again what we need to refine going into Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday, and then we've got next week till Thursday. So just hopefully we can get some stuff that we need to work on ourselves. So
For sure. Speaking of, you guys, Jade Toller hit a 3 in the first half on Friday. Little up and down overall, but it's one of her first real game minutes back in like you could say 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah.
What have you seen from her, and what kind of this week with you guys having the 1 seed kind of locked up? Is there any possibility? I'm sure there's at least a little bit of seeing her a little bit more and get her back in the flow a little bit.
Oh yeah, absolutely. She got sick right before we went on that snow break. She actually had COVID. So, she even mentioned the other day, I guess it was Friday, that was the first time that she had actually felt like she had more strength with her shot, because we had noticed, golly, Jade's shot, like in practice, her shot was just off. It was short. It was offline. It just didn't look like her shot. And then today, she went to drive and do something, and I said, get your tail in on that 3-point line. Like, you've got to love your job. And she just looked at me like, I know that's my job. I know. But she is such a good three-pointer shooter that I do hope to get her a little bit more playing time. And even Mackenzie and Michaela, I'd like to get them a little bit more playing time tomorrow night, just because, all 3 of them work so hard every day in practice, and it doesn't go unnoticed at all. It's just how situations pan out. Again, sometimes it's a blessing to be able to play your sophomore year. And that's not always the case for everybody. Not everybody's going to get to play their sophomore year. If you go to some of these other schools, they've got big juniors and senior classes. Right. As to where this year, I have a small junior and senior class, and some of my sophomores are getting a lot of playing time. But I need them also to be ready, not just for whenever their number is called, but going forward too. For sure.
It was good to see speaking of what you're saying with Jade, the 1-3 that she had against Community, you could tell that like it came up short, and it was also, maybe a little bit of nerves thrown in there, just not having been in the flow of 3 weeks. Yeah. So it's good to see. It was good to see her confidently take the 3 on the wing in Friday's game. And of course, it's always great to see it go through the basket. So this week, again, Eagleville tomorrow night on the road, 2 road games, Eagleville tomorrow night, and then Summertown on Friday. Summertown also takes on Loretto tomorrow night. That one, of course, along with Community taking on Chapel Hill, are the only 2 district games being played, obviously, but are massive for seeding and standings, and that's why you guys don't know who you're going to be, even possibly who you're going to be playing yet in a more than a week's time. Going into Friday's game, of course, it's a district opponent. There's a real chance that they could fall to the 4 seed, and you guys see them, your first game
potentially
of the postseason. What is there? You don't want to overthink things to that extent too much, but...
I'm an overthinker. I've thought of every situation. Sunday morning, I woke up and I was texting Coach Kaylee, and I said, okay, if this happens, this is how it would fall. If this happens, this is how this falls. And that's just my brain. And I know I'm weird for it, but, just thinking about going into that game on Friday, if we could potentially play them the next Thursday, you don't want to show all of your adjustments that you've been making these last 2 weeks, but you also, from a competitive standpoint, like, we want to go out and we want to win that game. Let that one game that we lost be the only game that we lost in that district branch of it. And then that's a tough place to play. I guess it might be their senior night. I don't know. how that will work for them. I know they had homecoming the other night. I would assume that it's going to be their senior night too, and so again, more distractions to throw at us. But I think that sometimes those are good for you because there's a lot of distractions going on when you get into tournament play. You know, they're a good team. They're a physical team. Gabby Long can shoot the ball, and then Ella Busby, she just does her thing. She's a phenomenal athlete. And Coach Gene, he is, I would almost think, like a carbon copy of John Wild as far as the schemes that he can work up. You know, he did great adjustments against us last year in the region semis, and so I'm sure that he's going to take what he can get this time, and then if we end up with him, you know, on that first game, then that is what it is.
Hey, then everything.
Everything's back to zero at that point.
It's thrown out the window, and it's just, you know, win and win in advance. You guys played them last time. It felt like, looking back on it, that was the start of kind of the, you know, the sickness bug was kind of hitting you all that week. What, you know, do you recall exactly about that? What, not specifically from the game, but the in terms of that kind of timeline for people starting to get a little bit under the weather, because, you know, it's the lowest total 3-pointers you made all season with 2. I do know that much from that game.
That was I mean, we had already played the other 3 district games at that point. So Summertown was our last district game, and we were tired. We were super tired, trying to just make sure that we were all staying healthy. We were taking ice baths and everything. So I would be interested to see, you know, now that we've had a little refresher, and we'll have a few days off before we could play them again, how that's going to look. But, you know, our shots have been short a lot lately, and that's concerning to me as their coach. But I don't know. I mean, that game, I feel like, was centuries ago.
Yeah. The game itself was definitely, you know, just years ago almost.
And it the whole season, like, it goes so fast. But, like, you get to this point and you're like, what happened 3 weeks ago? Who did we play 3 weeks ago? Did we play 3 weeks ago? What adjustments have we made since then? It's really, truly a marathon that you go through with the game of basketball, especially during this time.
Yeah, for sure. You guys, of course, you know, it's been more, you know, pretty low-scoring affairs, especially this district's so good that, you know, any given night, anybody can beat anybody. We've seen that on display, even though, you know, it's not technically played out yet, but it feels like that would be coming in the district tournament, which we don't want to talk too much about until, you know, next week, until we get there, you know, kind of previewing it. But the schedule for the district tournament, it's been different every year.
The last 3 years.
Do you mind go ahead and laying it out for us, since you know, since we do know at this point what those days are?
So on February 16th, that will be the girls play-in game. So that will be the 4th and the 5th seed, and they will play at the higher seed. So they would play at the 4th seed's gymnasium for girls. And then on the 17th, it'll be the same thing for boys. And then we will take Wednesday off. And then the semifinals, with the 1 seed playing the winner of the 4-5 game, will be at 6 o'clock, and then the 2-3 game will be at 7:30, and then the same thing on Friday
for the boys.
And then we will have consolation and championship games on Saturday starting at 3. So the girls consolation will be at 3, boys consolation will be at 4:30. Girls championship at 6, boys championship at 7:30. So it'll be a long day, but we felt like, you know, for as much as we were all traveling, that would be the best way, especially if you have a team that is, like, for example, Loretto. If they have a girls team that's in the championship, or a boys team that's in the consolation, like, they can stay for a longer period of time instead of going back and forth twice. So hopefully we can get a bigger crowd, especially for those that are traveling. But, we've got Bell Buckle Cafe over there if anybody wants to go eat.
I'll be there at some point.
I mean, we've got some options that we'll have. The concession stand's always great stuff. But it'll definitely be a long day, 3 to about 10.
Yeah.
I'll probably have to be there too. So that'll be fun too.
2 to 10, little 8-hour workday. Yeah.
No big deal.
Hopefully somewhere around there, in that halfway mark, there'll be some, obviously we'll have a reason to be there on Saturday.
Yeah.
So we're definitely looking forward to that. That's of course in next week. Next week starts 7 days from today,
district tournament.
That first play-in game. So this week again, Eagleville on the road. Chapel Hill was on the road last week. Summertown on the road. We're looking forward to it, and we hope that there's definitely going to be some drama this week throughout the district, and you guys should find out who you're playing by Tuesday at Tuesday night. But we shall see. Coach, thank you so much for coming in. We really appreciate the time. And good luck this week. Again, on the road at Eagleville. Tomorrow night, we'll be live, of course, at 5:45 right here on the Zinger 100.9. Thank you so much, Coach.
Thank you.
Brandon, we'll be back in 2 minutes. On the other side of this break, we'll talk to Coach Worsley for the Cascade Champions right here on the Cascade Coaches Show.
Looking for farm fresh beef with real Tennessee flavor? At Five Oaks Farm in Shelbyville, their cattle are pasture raised and grain finished for rich, tender taste every time. From their popular burger box to the fully stocked family box, Five Oaks Farm is here to serve you with high quality, locally raised beef. Order your box today at fiveoaksfarmtn.com. Five Oaks Farm, a brand you can trust.
In our community, we believe in supporting one another. And at First Community Bank, we take that seriously. For generations, we've been proud to serve our neighbors with personal service that's as genuine as a handshake. Whether you're opening an account for your new business, saving for your child's education, or just need a safe place for your money, we're here with a commitment to the people of our hometown. First Community Bank, proud to be your hometown bank. Visit us today and see how we can help you. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Visit Kincaid Service Company today to experience the superior comfort of a Serta mattress. Serta has pioneered sleep innovation for more than 90 years, bringing quality products to more than 150 countries worldwide. Serta Comfort is validated by consumers with thousands of 5-star reviews and are designed and assembled in the U.S. at one of Serta's state-of-the-art facilities. Serta's award-winning mattress collections are created by providing superior comfort along with overall support and breathability. Get Serta Comfort by visiting Kincaid Service Company in Shelbyville. Online at kincaidservice.com.
If you're in the market for heavy equipment, Clanton Pipe and Supply has you covered. With everything from skid steers, backhoes, and even mini excavators, you never know what Clanton will have on the lot. For all your pipe and used equipment needs, call 931-684-4847. For heavy equipment, financing is available with approved credit. And of course, you know Clanton for their corrugated metal and plastic culvert pipe. They carry all types and sizes, not to mention that delivery is also available. 931-684-4847, ClantonPipeandSupply.com.
It's the Cascade Coaches Show on the Zinger 100.9.
Welcome back to the Cascade Coaches Show right here on the Zinger 100.9. Noah Maddox joined by Coach Doug Worsley over the phone. Coach, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I can hear you just fine.
Awesome. We can hear you as well. Welcome into the show. The show is brought to you by Five Oaks Farm of Tennessee, Clanton Pipe and Supply, First Community Bank, and Kincaid Service Company. Coach, you guys are 15-9 now after a 2-0 week against Community on senior night last Tuesday, and then taking down Chapel Hill on Friday. Those scores 60-52 over the Vikings to complete the season sweep, and then 55-35 over the Rockets from Chapel Hill. Coach, why were you guys so successful 2-0 last week in district play, and how big was that week in terms of setting you guys up for next week's district tournament?
I think part of our success came from the kids' focus. They were focused. They were dialed in. Of course, it's not difficult to get them ready to play. When you play community, when you play your rival, that's not difficult to keep focused on it. I think probably the greater distraction was probably the senior night festivities and all that come with that. That probably was a bigger distraction. But once you get through that, which we did pretty early, you're allowed to sit back and focus a little bit more on the game. I thought, of course, we're pretty fairly evenly matched teams. A little more high scoring last time than this time. We made a couple adjustments and made a little more focus on the defensive end, and I think that worked well for us. And then, having to go to Chapel Hill, I know not traditionally maybe a rivalry, but, Robbie does a great job with his kids. He used to be at Community, and now he's at Chapel Hill. But Robbie does a great job preparing his kids, and that was a game that was tight through the third, and then in the third, towards the end of the third, we made our run into the fourth quarter, and we were able to separate ourselves from them.
For sure, yeah. You guys beat Community in the first game of the week by 8, 60-52. Highlighted in that, you guys turned the ball over just 11 times. You held Charlie Haskins to 14 points in that game on 12 field goal attempts, 3 of 12 from the field. Those are numbers that Haskins typically, those are pretty foreign to him on a night-to-night basis. Henry Stone had 18 points, 6 rebounds to lead y'all in scoring on senior night. How big was Henry specifically as one of the leaders of this team on senior night to have that kind of game and that kind of impact that he had for 32 minutes on Tuesday?
Henry's, he does anything you ask him to do. He doesn't balk at anything like that. If you want him to play 10 minutes, he'd play 10 minutes. Whatever it is you're asking him to do, he's going to do that. He's kind of our Swiss pocket knife. We can put Henry in the dunker spot or the porch. We can play him in the post. We can move him to the wing. His field goal percentage from the 3-point line has gone up this year versus last year. And then we can put him at the point. Whenever I need to give Kelso a breather, I'm able to move Henry to the point and let him run the point some. He just is our Swiss pocket knife. It's big that you can take a guy like that and move him around. It's like playing chess. You move around the pieces. And so Henry's able to do a lot for us. And then defensively, he knows what's up. He doesn't get beat very often. And in rebounding, he's very conscientious about, hitting his guy, going and finding the ball, securing it. He's just a very, very, very good player.
For sure, and very versatile, as you we're talking about. How were you guys able to keep Haskins? He went 7-11 from the free throw line, but how were you guys able to limit him and limit his efficiency in Tuesday night's win?
I thought we did a good job of having second defenders ready to challenge him or be in his way. Once he gets his head of steam down, he's tough to stop. And so our goal was take a step away from him, get some more space, and if he does start to get by you, have your help early, and then that early help be able to help corral him. I thought we did a good job for most of the night. And then the other thing was he's very slippery. When you take a shot, he's leaking out. We made sure we had more than one person getting back. And he got some one-on-one stuff the first time. He didn't get that in the transition part of the game this last time.
For sure. Josh Powers, 13 points for them, 5 of 6 from the floor, 3 of 4 from downtown, but he had 8 of those in, I think the first 3 or 4 minutes of the game. What did you guys do? What were you guys able to do defensively to tighten the screws on Powers after he had that hot start?
Well, he didn't shoot the ball very well the first time we played him. I've been watching him. He played well against Loretto, and so and a few other games against Forrest. You know, he's got a nice stroke, and I knew he was going to be ready for it. I didn't know if he would do it early or not, and he got to it early, so we just made a couple of adjustments. Hey, get out there to him quicker, make him put it on the floor a little bit more. Got to have help. Just little things, you know. Hey, we took a timeout, adjusted, then come back out, and luckily for us, you know, I think he got in a little foul trouble in the first half too. I think he picked up 2, and so he had to sit for a little while.
Yeah, it kind of took him out of his rhythm along with you guys defensively, and I misspoke a second ago. It was 11 in that first quarter, 11 of Community's 17 points, and just scored 2 points after the first 8 minutes. You guys only turned the ball over 11 times. You forced 16 turnovers for Community, but it was really those middle quarters where you guys kind of pulled away and created the separation, enough separation for the fourth quarter where, you know, the first game, you know, felt like of that night, the girls were trying to get back in the game, and it was a super frenetic pace. You guys, it felt like you guys were in control in the fourth quarter, despite it, you know, finishing as an 8-point game. And I guess you would attribute the success of that, and one of the reasons for that was you guys outscored them by 8 in the middle too, but most importantly, a 16-10 third quarter on Tuesday.
Yeah, we were able to hit a few shots early, and it kind of padded that for us. I thought, you know, with all high school kids, I think, and probably a lot of college kids, once you see that lead start to grow a little bit, you feel a little more relaxed, and you're not quite as stiff or tight a little bit. And I thought the kids did a great job of complementing each other, of running through the offense, finding the advantage, and then trying to play through it.
You guys, you both hit 5 threes in that game, shot almost identical amounts, 15 for you guys, 16 for them. But you guys won the battle in the paint by 6, had 6 more offensive rebounds, and thus out-rebounded them by 6 in that game. And as we mentioned, the turnovers, you outscored them in points off turnovers, 14-10. In that game, how big was that post-game? And what was the message in the locker room after you guys took care of business, and knowing that, you know, you could potentially see them again in a consolation game that is or a championship game, one of the two on that Saturday, but that's not a team that you'll play to start the district tournament.
Yeah, the message for us that night was, hey, handle our business here, and we can almost, not for sure, we knew we'd have to play Friday, but if we took care of business on Tuesday, you now have beaten them twice, and if for some reason there's a tie in the standings, that gives you an advantage, and you'll earn the tiebreaker. So it was more, hey, make sure that we have that advantage, because, you know, certainly Community's capable of beating Loretto. They did the first time they played them.
Yep.
And although they didn't win the second time on Friday night, it was a very tight game all the way through. So we knew that there's a possibility we could see them again. With 5 teams in your district, you're going to face somebody a third time. And so we knew that could be them. We just have to take care of our business and then set ourselves up for however the tournament plays out.
For sure. We'll continue talking to Coach Worsley on the other side of this break right here on the Cascade Coaches Show.
Looking for farm fresh beef with real Tennessee flavor? At Five Oaks Farm in Shelbyville, their cattle are pasture raised and grain finished for rich, tender taste every time. From their popular burger box to the fully stocked family box, Five Oaks Farm is here to serve you with high quality, locally raised beef. Order your box today at fiveoaksfarmtn.com. Five Oaks Farm, a brand you can trust.
At First Community Bank, we're more than just a place to deposit your paycheck. We're your neighbors, your friends, and your community partners. Whether it's helping you buy your first home, saving for college, or offering a loan to get your dream off the ground, we're here every step of the way. For over 35 years, we've been proud to serve the people of Bedford County. When you bank with us, you're not just a customer, you're part of the family. First Community Bank, your hometown bank. Stop by today. We're just right down the road. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Kincaid's is proud to offer Beauty Rest Black to our customers. Beauty Rest Black represents a leap forward in bedding with sleep climate technology keeping you cool, and triple-stranded pocketed coils give you luxurious support all night long. Wake up refreshed and ready to take on the day with a new Beauty Rest Black mattress from Kincaid Service Company. 400 Madison Street, Shelbyville, across from the Speedway gas station. 931-684-5662. If you're in the market for heavy equipment, Clanton Pipe & Supply has you covered. With everything from skid steers, backhoes, and even mini excavators, you never know what Clanton will have on the lot. For all your pipe and used equipment needs, call 931-684-4847. For heavy equipment, financing is available with approved credit. And of course, you know Clanton for their corrugated metal and plastic culvert pipe. They carry all types and sizes, not to mention that delivery is also available. 931-684-4847, ClantonPipeandSupply.com.
It's the Cascade Coaches Show on the Zinger 100.9.
Welcome back to the Cascade Coaches Show. Noah Maddox right here in Studio B with, we're joined by Coach Doug Worsley over the phone. Cascade Coaches Show brought to you by Five Oaks Farm of Tennessee, Clanton Pipe & Supply, First Community Bank, and Kincaid Service Company. Coach, we're just wrapping up the talking about last Tuesday's game against Community. Now we'll look at the game on Friday at Chapel Hill, the game that wrapped up secured no worse than a 3 seed for you guys in next week's district tournament. What was the message going into that game against Chapel Hill? You guys kind of had a, it wasn't that close of a game the first time you guys played, but this time you guys, they cut it to 6 in the fourth quarter, but you guys stayed the course, closed the game on a 16-2 run, and the final score ended up being 55-35. What was the message heading into that game, preparing for that game? And then, the message when you guys had 5 points that, scored in that third quarter.
Well, I think the biggest thing for us was stay the course. We knew there would be adversity that hit us. Maybe we, weren't shooting the basketball well in the first half. I think if I remember seeing the stats correctly, I think we were 5 of 29 from three-point range. At one point, and so, or 5 of 25, whatever it was. I think we finished maybe 9 of 29, something like that. But we weren't shooting the ball well. Their zone was forcing us into some turnovers. We turned the ball, I think the first quarter, we turned the ball over 4 out of the first 6 possessions we had. So it was a little bit more than what we were used to doing. I thought we'd been taking care of the basketball pretty well. And so we knew adversity was going to be there. The key was just to keep relying on each other. Don't worry about the score. Just worry about playing harder. If we don't get something going our way, get the next play. But just to stay focused, because we knew, Forrest, it's their senior night. They're trying to go out on a win. They're trying to get a big win. Like, we knew that was going to be there. And so you got to deal with those emotions. But, for our kids, we just got to stay focused, keep a level head, not get too emotional about things. Watching the girls' game in the first half, it was really physical. We weren't sure how the officials would call it, and to their credit, they dialed it back a little bit and called it a little tighter, which probably helped us.
Yeah, you guys had the 18 turnovers for the game, but you guys forced 25 by the Rockets at 24 deflections. You guys did have 21 assists credited to you guys in that game. Of course, that can be a little subjective at times, but the biggest thing was the points off turnovers. Outscored them by 12 in that department, 19-7, which is always a good indicator for any team when you have a plus 12 in that department. But you guys outscored them from the 3-point line, outshot them, hit 8 more threes than they did. You guys hit 9. They only took 6, and the threes that you guys hit, especially in that fourth quarter, is what sparked that big run that you guys had to close out the game.
Yeah, Cooper hit the first one, and then Kelso hits one, and then Cooper comes back and hits another one. I think it was almost 3 straight possessions, or 3 out of 4 possessions where we go back threes, and that did get us going. Again, I thought it helped soften their zone up a little bit, and we were able to, make a few more passes inside. We got some layups, short bank shots in, simply because we hit a few more shots. The biggest part was the first half, we just didn't shoot the 3-ball well. And I thought the second, especially in the fourth, we shot it better, that loosened the zone up, and we knew at that point, hey, take care of the basketball, make good decisions, we'll be fine.
Absolutely. Yeah, Coach, there's one thing that I had to make sure we didn't forget tonight, was the apparel that you guys wore on Friday. It was a different color. It was orange. But Henry was wearing number 0 to start the game. Is there any story behind that, or was that just kind of an alternate that you guys had available and wanted to wear on Friday?
We've had that alternate. I've wanted to wear it all year, and the guys just haven't been willing to. We have another orange. It's an orange and cream. That one's an orange and black. And they just haven't been wanting to do it. I wanted to. I like, changing up the road colors every once in a while. Henry was wearing 0 because number 10 in orange and black is missing. It's not back there. We have all the other numbers, but 10 is missing. And so it's kind of weird. It is kind of odd that one's missing. And then at home, Tyler Barrett's number 24 is missing.
Yeah.
So we actually have two numbers that are missing. Now they're in black, no big deal. But we just have some missing numbers for whatever reason. I don't know why, but we just adjusted. Zishan was kind enough to let Henry wear number 0, and he wore a different jersey.
Yes, he sure did. Zishan checked in and scored in the final minutes of that one on Friday. So, but yeah, it was pretty interesting. But never going to say no to wearing orange, at least from a fan's perspective, to seeing it on the floor on the road. Cooper, as we've kind of beat around the bush a little bit, had 20 points, was 7 of 11, pretty efficient, 5 of 8 from downtown, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals. Tristan Billings had 10 points in the first half, hit that buzzer beater in the second quarter to put you guys, extend you guys' lead. And Henry Stone had those 11 points that he had. Caleb Kelso hit 2 threes, but from the field he was struggling a little bit shooting wise. Finished with 6. What did you see, and how big was Tristan's 10 points in that first half? All coming as he comes in off the bench.
Yeah, Tristan does a great job for us coming in off the bench. He's taken that role and run with it. We love the fact that he's willing and accepting of that role. And, there's some nights where, for instance, when we played Summertown, he carried us. He had 18 that night, and he can get hot. He's kind of like a little microwave. Once he starts heating up, he can get going. The second half, some other guys were starting to shoot the ball a little better, and so we rode them. Tristan's fine with that. He just keeps playing. He's called upon. He does what he's supposed to do. So that was big, especially in the first half, I thought. Tristan, we actually ran at that buzzer beater at the end of the second quarter. We actually called that, and basically the guys ran it to perfection, waiting until the last second to take the shot, and Tristan's willing to take those. He doesn't mind, the degree of difficulty or whatever. He doesn't mind. So he has a great mentality for it. If he misses one, he's just thinking about the next one, thinking about making the next shot. So that's his, and that's a good thing to have. It's a good thing to have as a shooter, and he's been a really nice surprise for us this year, considering last year, not as very little time.
Yeah, he's got that scores mentality where, and also to the point where he has fun when it's the tougher the shot, the more intrigued he gets about. Probably, I would assume, from what it sounds like, a little bit more intrigue on being able to take that kind of shot, and he hit it in the first half on Friday, and that, of course, you said very valuable piece that can come off the bench and just, provide a spark on the offensive end. And he's improved defensively as well. He's had 2 steals on Friday. Has improved defensively throughout the season as the time has ticked up for him. Cooper had those 20 points. You guys defensively held Chapel Hill. They struggled in the second half. What went into on the defensive side of things after Andrew Myers, I believe, had I think it was close to 15, 17 points in the first meeting. You guys held him to 8 points on 3 of 10 shooting from the floor. Well, what was the plan of attack and the message for on the defensive end against these guys the second time around?
Well, we knew Myers is kind of a pogo stick, if you will. Once he gets going, he starts bouncing. He gets really lively with the ball. He can be explosive. Our message, in the pregame was, hey, we have to make sure we check him on the boards on every shot. He tends to go get offensive rebounds and stickbacks. But he has a nice jumper from the free throw line in. We weren't going to give him that. That was just something we weren't going to give him. We kind of conceded it to him in the first game, but this was one of those ones where we're saying, no, we're going to make you put it on the floor. And if you're dribbling it from the free throw line in, we think we can get our hands on it. So it was take away the jumper and then see what happens. And our guys did a really good job, I thought, of boxing him out. I thought Henry did a really good job on him. I thought Noah Watson did a really good job on him. And then there were some times where Tyler Barrett was on him. So, 3 guys kind of took the challenge up, and they were determined to try to keep him off the glass and limit his touches.
They only had 1 offensive rebound, so you guys did, succeed on that front on the glass with them. We'll be back in 2 minutes to continue talking to Coach Worsley. Look ahead to this week's clash against number 9 Summertown on Friday. We'll be back in 2 minutes on the Cascade Coaches Show.
Looking for farm fresh beef with real Tennessee flavor? At Five Oaks Farm in Shelbyville, their cattle are pasture raised and grain finished for rich, tender taste every time. From their popular burger box to the fully stocked family box, Five Oaks Farm is here to serve you with high quality, locally raised beef. Order your box today at fiveoaksfarmtn.com. Five Oaks Farm, a brand you can trust.
Friends don't let friends miss out on savings. They share tips, tools, and smart choices that help your money go further. At First Community Bank, our savings accounts make it easy to work toward your goals with flexible options, competitive interest, and the friendly guidance you deserve. Because saving more isn't something a good friend lets you miss out on. Open an account today and put your money to work. First Community Bank. Friends and neighbors first. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Visit Kincaid Service Company today to experience the superior comfort of a Serta mattress. Serta has pioneered sleep innovation for more than 90 years, bringing quality products to more than 150 countries worldwide. Serta Comfort is validated by consumers with thousands of 5-star reviews and are designed and assembled in the U.S. at one of Serta's state-of-the-art facilities. Serta's award-winning mattress collections are created by providing superior comfort along with overall support and breathability. Get Serta Comfort by visiting Kincaid Service Company in Shelbyville. Online at kincaidservice.com.
If you're in the market for heavy equipment, Clanton Pipe and Supply has you covered. With everything from skid steers, backhoes, and even mini excavators, you never know what Clanton will have on the lot. For all your pipe and used equipment needs, call 931-684-4847. For heavy equipment, financing is available with approved credit. And of course, you know Clanton for their corrugated metal and plastic culvert pipe. They carry all types and sizes, not to mention that delivery is also available. 931-684-4847, ClantonPipeandSupply.com.
It's the Cascade Coaches Show on the Zinger 100.9.
Welcome back to the Cascade Coaches Show. Noah Maddox here with Coach Worsley over the phone. Coach, you guys have a trip to Eagleville, number 1 in Class 1A tomorrow night in a non-district affair. Eagleville coming in 23-0. And then you guys travel to Summertown, the number 9 team as of this morning's poll. Number 9 in Class 2A. Summertown coming off a really close win over Community in a game that was tied entering the fourth quarter. They won that game 56-50. You guys played Summertown on January the 23rd. Fell 68-51. That was the beginning of the all the bugs and the illness kind of coming around. You mentioned Tristan had those 18 points earlier in the show. What are the biggest? What are the focus points? And what are the focus from you guys, team and the staff? Coming into this week against two very, very good basketball teams, but specifically, a district foe on Friday.
Yeah, the game with Eagleville is one that, we talk about why we put games like that on the schedule. We talked about that today at the end of practice. Why do we go out and play somebody who, we knew last year they were going to be very good. Anybody who played them knew they were going to be very good with bringing virtually every kid back. Those types of games are what kind of measure you and see how you've improved. They beat us by 32 back in November. So our first home game was not a good one. So, we knew, hey, the rematch, let's measure how far we've come. And hopefully we will measure up and we'll be a lot more competitive than we were the first time. As far as the Summertown game goes, we know that's a district game, and we know it's on the road. We know they're going to have to deal with the senior night type thing going on. So that's a distraction for them. But at the same time, we also know it being senior night, he'll probably, let the seniors loose to do a little bit more. But, we just know that that's a game that we did not shoot the ball very well as a team. We didn't defend like we should. Was not a good game after halftime for us. But we got time to improve on it. We got time between now and then to make some adjustments. And, the key is whatever happens tomorrow with them and Loretto. If Loretto beats them, Loretto's going to be the 1 seed, and that means Summertown and us are going to see each other again. So it means we'd see each other the first round of the district tournament. And so really what's on the line is if we go in Friday, maybe we'll be the 2 seed instead of the 3 seed. So we're going to be at home no matter what. But the question is, what color are you wearing at home?
Orange, maybe.
Might be.
It could be. We'll see. Of course, that game, the one tomorrow night, Loretto Summertown, is what all this kind of hinges on. For matchups on the boys' side, both sides, boys and girls, really determines what numbers are going to be beside each team's name come district tournament time next week. We're looking forward to that. We're going to have a lot more talking about previewing the district tournament once we have the brackets sorted and set up for next week on next week's show. Coach, thank you so much for taking the time tonight, and good luck this week against 2 top 10 teams in the state. We appreciate it, and we look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. Awesome. We'll be back, of course, tomorrow night for Eagleville on the road. We'll be on the road in Eagleville against the number 1 team in Class 1A. Starting, we'll go live, of course, at 5:45, and then we'll be on the road again on Friday night at Summertown, also live at 5:45, and then we'll have the end of the regular season wrap-up coaches show previewing the district tournament in 7 days' time at 5 p.m. right here on the Zinger 100.9. For Brandon Crossland on the 1s and 2s, and for Coach JD and Coach Worsley, I'm Maddox signing off for the final time tonight. We'll talk to you again tomorrow at 5:45. Thank you all for listening.
The Zinger 100.9 and AM 1400. Real classic rock. WZNG Shelbyville. From the Farm Bureau Insurance North Main Office Weather Center, here's Southern Tennessee weather meteorologist Elijah Kirby.
Monday afternoon and evening is turning out warm and pleasant across southern Middle Tennessee. Skies are mostly sunny and temperatures are climbing into the mid-60s. Southwest winds at 5 to 10 miles per hour are keeping the air moving, making it feel comfortable for outdoor plans. As we head into the evening hours, skies will remain mostly clear to partly cloudy, and temperatures will fall slowly rather than dropping off quickly. Monday night will stay mild for this time of year. Expect partly cloudy skies with overnight lows near 47 degrees and light winds out of the south. Tuesday continues a warming trend. Clouds will increase through the day, but highs will still climb to around 70 degrees. Rain chances will begin to increase Tuesday evening ahead of a weak disturbance. Rainfall totals should remain under 1/2 inch, with more meaningful rain chances setting up later in the week. Get out and enjoy the warmth while it lasts. That's your Monday afternoon and evening weather update. I'm Southern Tennessee weather meteorologist Elijah Kirby.
Across back roads and interstates, Farm Bureau Insurance of Tennessee has protected Tennesseans like you for over 75 years. So wherever you're headed, trust our auto insurance to get you there with peace of mind. If you're new to the area or just new to us, call your local agents, Jeff and Kenneth, at 931-575-5050 or visit the Bedford North Main Farm Bureau office at 1735 North Main Street, Suite C1 in Shelbyville, Tennessee. Farm Bureau Insurance of Tennessee. Tennessee Insurance for Tennessee Life. This is a PSA from the Duck River Utility Commission. The voluntary conservation request issued by the cities on behalf of the Duck River Utility Commission has not improved the excess water demand situation. Since the recent cold snap, water demand is over 1 million gallons a day, higher than normal. The DRUC is renewing its request for reduction in water use by everyone in Manchester, Tullahoma, Wartrace, Bell Buckle, Hillsborough, Pelham,